Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Premium DNA Battletoads General Vermin. And I've already reviewed the two toads at this point, probably, depending on if I upload these at the right time. Anyway, it'll be up there if I've reviewed them already, and you should check them out, because this is a very interesting line of figures from a sort of interesting sort of company, from a very interesting IP. I think a lot of people who at least grew up when I did are into Battletoads. It's like the dumbest thing ever, but also awesome. Hey, Ninja Turtles, right? Why not? So these figures have a lot going for them, and some setbacks also. They have some problems, but we're going to talk about all of that. So let's go ahead and get this guy off the stand and take a closer look. Okay, before we look at the figure, I will just give you a quick look at my package, and it's a big one. It's a very big package, but just wait until we get to his boss. It's an even bigger package. It's just like the other ones, by the way, so it's just humongous, but it has the same sort of stuff. It says end boss, but he's not the end boss. Is he? I don't think so. Anyway, whatever. There you go. And these photos here aren't even accurate. They make the big guys look little, and I'll show you that in a second. But you'll see, it's pretty cool. So yeah, the packaging is nice. See all the same sort of stuff that they showed on the little guy's packaging. Some more artwork there. I like it. All right, good packaging, I have to say, and it does come in a giant sleeve just like all the other ones. It's just mostly black, doesn't show a whole lot on it, so we don't need to get into that. Let's get into the good stuff here. But first, we have to talk about the sponsor of today's video, which is Into the AM. They are the wonderful t-shirt people. That's not their slogan, it's the one I give them. They make the best graphic tees I have ever owned, so I'm always happy to do sponsorships with them. It helps the channel, and it helps you guys get some awesome clothes, because these things are wonderful. They're the best fitting, best looking, best printed graphic tees I've ever seen, bar none. And they come in at a good price. I want to go through their website, show you guys some of the options you could choose from. These will be my personal favorite picks, and then you could use my link in the description below to save yourself some money. You could do some bundling, some other various options. Get yourself some good deals on some excellent shirts. So let's go ahead and take a look at some options here. This is one that I am particularly fond of. I love the coloring, I love the layout of, I'm going to say mostly the same thing for all of these because it's true for all of them, but some of them do stand out to me. This one I do like the design a whole bunch. It's got kind of a comic-y feel, but obviously it's a little more unique. And that's one of the things I do like about these. I'll just add this in. I get compliments on these shirts all the time. If I wear a Marvel shirt, no one cares. Nobody notices. But these shirts catch people's attention almost everywhere I go, and my wife steals them too. So she likes to wear them, even though they're a little bit big on her. I'm a big guy, but she likes these shirts too. So anyway, here's another one that is particularly good. It's a little bit more subdued, but I think it's a nice look. And then let's go ahead and just look at one more. This was one of my personal favorites. I like this one. It's super vibrant, but also not like crazy. I don't know how to describe it. It's colorful and punchy, but not like, oh, I need attention sort of thing. And I think that's kind of true for all of their designs. They're super well crafted, at least according to my personal taste, in that they are colorful and punchy, but they're not like screaming, I need attention, talk to me sort of thing, because I don't want that. But yeah, so there's some options for you to check out. Use the link in the description below. It's Into the AM. They make the best graphic tees I have ever seen. Do yourself a favor and check them out. All right, now before we do anything else, I have to mention this. He has loose hips, and I have a very slick, to make it's reflective, very slick surface here, so you're going to see probably his legs at some point doing this if I have him standing on his own. You saw on the turnaround he didn't do that. If you have a normal surface that's not really slick, he's probably fine, but he does have a loose hip situation going on, at least mine does. All right, okay, so that's it. I didn't balance him either, and I shook the table. All right, we're going to talk about it. He does have some problems. But first, let's do a height measurement so I don't forget. Will the ruler cut it? Oh, just barely. He's 12 inches, and that's in this pose. So you can probably get him to stand a little bit taller or a little bit shorter, depending on how you want him standing. So 12 inches, it's about 30.5 centimeters, give or take. Here he is up against Darwin. He's quite a lot larger. Darwin comes up to, well, no, we're not going to do that. He's a little bit bigger than Darwin. Let's see if he'll stand here without falling over. I think he will. I'll just grab one of the Battletoads here. So you can see he's quite big. But he's not really that big when you compare him against the other big guy, which I will be reviewing here soon. He pales in comparison. This is going to be a super fun line to collect if they keep going. I love the fun level that I'm experiencing with these figures. They're not perfect, they are expensive, but they are fun, and that's an important thing I think a lot of companies forget about. Okay, this guy is annoying. He's driving me nuts with his loose joints. All right, let's do a quick question of the day. Do you find more pleasure in collecting a line of figures that has a wide variety in it? I know I definitely do. For instance, the Storm Collectibles Golden Axe figures. I love that because you got the little guys, the big guys, the dragons, the whole spread. That's fun. It's not fun to see 1,000 of these with different heads on them. All right, so I do enjoy something like this and I appreciate it, so I'm excited to see this go forward. Let me know what you guys think. All right, Storm's kind of like that too because they have a really, Storm in general, not just the Golden Axe figures. They have a wide variety of releases. All right, so let's dive into the aesthetic on this guy. I think it looks pretty good. He's got a lot of texture in the sculpt and enough paint to carry it. You could get more, but I think they did a good job. You know, there's a decent amount of detail in there. It looks nice. Not perfect, but it's darn good. These guys are kind of pulling a Jada. Jada had some shortcomings, but generally hit the ball out of the park on their first at bat. Their first go at action figures. And these guys are kind of doing the same thing. In some ways better, in some ways not, but it's a nice looking figure. A lot of, obviously, all new sculpt work, but a lot of sculpt work going on, and it looks good, so I'm pleased. I'm very pleased. It's also pinless, so for those of you who love pinless stuff, I personally don't care, because it's an action figure either way. But if you like it, it is pinless, and I'm going to give this an aesthetic rating of, I think 8 out of 10, only because he could have a little bit more detailed paintwork going on, like right here. It looks unfinished sort of because the torn parts just match the rest. But it's still, overall it looks really good. I'm very pleased with it. Now, as far as accessories go, he's a little bit less interesting than the Battletoads themselves, but he is pretty good. For his head, he does have the normal head that comes on him in the package. Then you get 2 other ones. I'm not exactly sure what the difference is on this 1 second head. It looks the same to me, and it looks the same in the photos too, so... Oh, it's the patch. I'm blind. He has a patch on his eye. Maybe it's because I was just looking at it from one side. I don't know. So yeah, you have the eye patch or no eye patch, and then you also have the one where his jaw is looking like he's been punched or something. His eye's a little bit bigger open, and this one's closed. So yeah, you have some alternate head options. I like that. For hands, you get the one fist hand and one kind of grippy hand that comes on him in the package, and then you get 2 wide open hands. That's pretty good. And then lastly, you get his flail. I think that's called a flail. It's not bendy or anything. It's fairly hard plastic, so you're going to have somewhat limited posing options, but it is pretty well done, well painted, nice wash in the handle, good sculpt work, and yeah, he can hold that. So that's not bad at all. Good spread of accessories. I will go 9 out of 10. Maybe a head with a closed mouth would have been good. I don't know, that's not really necessary. Maybe another fist hand? Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, you could come up with other things, but it's definitely a good spread. All right, and now it's time for the articulation, where you might have guessed already, he's got some problems. But let's see how it actually functions. All right, so for the head, he can look down nicely. It is on a double ball peg, so he looks down, he looks up. It's pretty functional, I would say. Man, these hips are driving me nuts. These hips are... Never mind. I was going to make a Seinfeld reference, but I don't know how many of you would even get it. How old is my audience? I don't know if they're old enough. So yeah, it looks up and down pretty well. It can rotate side to side, which is good enough. Leaning is pretty negligible because of his cheek puffs. But yeah, it's a pretty good neck joint. Not great, but good enough. These guys are hard plastic, so they will impede the shoulders some. Let's see how much. You're going to get your full rotation. All right, that's okay. The arms do go down, I would say, far enough. Going out to the side, way better than horizontal, so that's good. So I guess they're really not impeding too much other than bringing the arm forward, closer to his boobages. But that works. I'll take it. Double jointed elbow. You're going to get just about 90 degrees because of these gauntlet thingies that he has. But that's not bad. It's definitely acceptable. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge. Unfortunately, his gripping hand does have a vertical hinge, which is annoying. No company should ever make a gripping hand vertical. I mean, it should have a vertical hinge. It should never be horizontal, like almost ever. If it's a gripping hand, how many times do you hold something and go like this with it? Unless you're working out, maybe. That's about it. Otherwise, you're swinging like, look, You swing things this way, not like this. That doesn't do anything. So yeah, that's annoying, but everybody does that, so I don't really care. I mean, I do, but what am I gonna do about it? Nobody listens to me. All right, so the diaphragm joint, way better than the Battletoads. There's not a huge gap, and it has decent range. Sculpt and paint continued throughout. I like that. Going forward, not a ton of range. It is fairly limited, but it does look much better, so that's good. Side to side, not bad. I'll take it. You do get rotation on there, but very little, and you're gonna use that down here. Unless you really hate that. Mine has some glue. You probably won't have that white spot on yours, but yeah, you do have a full waist twist there. I will note, when I took this guy out of the package, this was separated a little bit. There's a little gap. I just pushed on him a little bit and it popped right down, so you might need to do that, but shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so that's all been pretty much fine so far, but now we have the issue you have seen already, which is his hips. I don't mind that these are all one piece. We don't need a thigh swivel because you can bake it in. That's fine. But I think they over-lubed it. It's just a ball socket in there. It looks like it's probably either palm on palm or maybe there's nylon. I can't say. But it's over-lubed. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that. It's very shiny in there. So eventually I might be able to get in there and keep wiping it away. And eventually it might not be a problem. But he's heavy and I didn't realize I was out of frame. It's probably going to stay too loose. It doesn't feel like the joint itself is too loose, but it feels slick, like it has too much lubrication. So let's go over the range and we'll see if that's any good, and then we'll talk about ways to maybe fix that. So they go all the way together, that's fine. Out to the side, far enough, not full on splits. Going forward, pretty crap, like very crap. Very limited range going forward, same thing going back. So the hips are only acceptable in terms of range, and they're too lubricated or too loose. You could try to pop it off. I wouldn't do that because of, excuse me. I wouldn't do that because of the way it's designed. It's going to be difficult to do it without potentially breaking that, and I don't know if it's nylon or palm. They're both fairly hard to break, but who knows? Who knows what they used, so it's hard to say. I would say if yours is super shiny like mine, you can try to stick a little cloth in there and wipe it up and keep doing that. Maybe that'll work, maybe not. What I would suggest is to try to deal with it other ways. Like I said, on a slick surface, he just wants to crumple. But when I put him on a regular surface, his legs don't have the ability to slide. So what you could do is just put something under his foot to make it a little bit sticky. Even if it's just like a little piece of electrical tape. Just tape it right to his foot, that material won't slide. And then he'll probably be okay, at least as far as the splits. And since he doesn't have a ton of range the other way, you should be able to balance him. But you definitely will have to try to deal with that, or just use a regular display stand. Now for his knees, he doesn't have a ton of range. It's only about 90 degrees, and this joint is too loose also. I haven't had as much trouble with that, but it's definitely an issue. So unfortunately, these two joints are by far the worst joints we've handled on these figures. The Battletoads didn't have too many problems with their joints. Let's check his ankles out. They go back pretty far, and they go forward not very far because he's got these giant feet. Ankle rocker is decent. So yeah, it has some shortcomings. I'm personally okay with working around those because the rest of the figure is such a fun, nice release. But it does have them, so I'll give the articulation rating only a 6 out of 10. You can fix the hips, it's probably fine. The knees being too loose, it's not good, but I can live with it because it's not falling over because of it. But that's the thing here, guys, is when you release a nice product that has a lot of effort put into it, you get some benefit of the doubt. You get some leeway when you have problems. When you release 1,000 of these and half of them have problems, you're not getting my benefit of the doubt. So anyway, this figure, I like it a whole bunch personally. As a reviewer, it definitely has some flaws, but there's a lot to like about it too. A lot of it works really well. It does look really good. It's gonna be nice on a display. I'd rather deal with a figure that looks nice and is going to be fun to display that has problems than one that doesn't look good and isn't going to be fun to display, that may or may not have problems. What's the point of that one? That's my personal stance on it. You guys can let me know how you feel. But yeah, I think it's a solid release. I'm going to knock it down to only a 7 out of 10 because it can't stand well on its own. That's a problem. You can probably work around it and then you can scale up the rating if you want to, but 3 heads, alternate hands, and accessory, brand new sculpt, lots of paint. Like, it's expensive, but I think it's technically worth it if it didn't have those 2 flaws of the loose joints. So I like it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But yeah, I think it's only going to get a 7 because of those issues. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.